welcome to the Age of Consciousness series. This is a Sacred Commerce podcast, and we're here with Dr. Tal Schaller in France. Hi, Tal.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you.
I want to share, to start, a little story, a beautiful synchronicity and how I met Tal. When I woke up spiritually 31 years ago, as everybody else, we start reading every book we can find about metaphysics and this and that. And I was driving in Switzerland and stopped in Lausanne. My cousin had a bookstore there called Albert Legrand. And so I went, stopped to say hi to him. And so I thought, well, I wonder if they have in this library anything spiritual or metaphysical, and how is the French, And I looked around to all the signs, on the shelves, and I see one called Spirituality Metaphysique. So I went there and I looked at scanning very quickly. I see a cassette, and it says Santé Spiritualité by Dr. Tal Schaller. And so I picked it up and I thought I'd listen to it in the car driving to Geneva. And I listened to it in the car. And when the tape finished, I said to myself, I'm going to meet that guy one day. So a few months after, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, doing a workshop. And a friend of mine told me, why don't you stay a few extra days? Let's go with me to Delphi. I said, what's in Delphi? He said, it's a spiritual community, but I need to meet a friend of mine who came from Switzerland. And I introduced him to the Vibra sound bed. I said, like the antenna went in my head. What's his name? He said, Dr. Tal Schaller. And I said, oh my God. And I changed my flight. I went to Delphi and I met Tal. And just then it was like a love at first sight, Ron. And I even built the house next to his there.
Yeah.
We went to Brazil, touring all the psychic surgeons, and people blow light and disappear and all that phenomena. And then we met in many places. We went to Thailand on vacation one time.
Yeah.
But most exciting is when I went to Geneva and I saw what he was doing. This is a long time ago. And he had a publishing house and a center called Édition Soleil, Vive Soleil, which means sun publishing, sunshine. And he was doing events and workshops and bringing business people and doing all kinds of activities. Well, I really wanted to be closer to him, so I joined his publishing company and I tried to help him for a while. And then he fell in love with Rowan, and I went to America and I fell in love with you. And everybody got busy with their own life, but obviously we kept friends for a long, long time. So for those who do not know Tal has written and published 60 books. Can you imagine?
I mean,
so that means 2 books a year.
How's that even possible?
About every subject under the sun, any subject, even the very tough and threatening subjects, And at the moment, he is probably one of the leading shaman, healer, teacher, master, and as his wife Joanne called him, the sage, the sage.
And on top of all that, an MD.
And of course, a doctor, psychiatrist, just go on. Yeah. Anyway, so Tal, we want to talk to you about the age of consciousness.
Yes.
And as we know, the world is moving through a transition. And for the first time, that transition, we're going through it consciously. It's a conscious evolution. And with every change, there's the dying of the past and the birth of the new. Sometimes there's chaos, which always turns into order. So it is normal that we are witnessing pains and disruption, etc. Would love to hear from you about how you are experiencing this transition and what are you doing about it.
Wonderful. I'm very touched by your introduction because I have a very strong, deep relationship with you and with Rowan, because I believe we're like cosmic brothers and sisters. We are bringing the same message to humankind, which is that it's possible to live in peace and love and harmony and stop in wars and fighting together. All these things are really just to let go. I believe that this chaotic transition is really like a labor for woman. It's bringing life. But it can be painful because, you have to go through the birth canal. But we really are in a process of the birth of a new humanity, a new way of being. Before, we had people here, there, racism and this and that, and suddenly with the COVID story, the whole world was one. So it has a beautiful aspect. This virus has brought all people the consciousness that we cannot escape and think, no, this is for others. We are all touched by something. And of course, you could say the negative aspect, but the positive aspect that we now have to deal with taking care of all human beings. We're on the same special vessel. We cannot say, no, I don't love the Jews or the Arabic. No, we are together. And what I believe is going to come out of this crisis is a wonderful new consciousness. I am me, but I am the other. I am all human beings, and I am all living beings. So I cannot say, I don't care. One of the major things is that we are on a planet where we are very destructive with animals. We kill billions of animals every year, and these animals are killing our health because it's very bad for the human body, and we are destroying forests. This is a nightmare. The beef civilization has to come to an end. We cannot continue to bring all these poor animals into slavery patterns and kill them and eat them. This has to be finished. Yesterday I was seeing on a TV show that if people see that we are going through economic big changes, because the world is changing now, many people, if they don't awake, they are going to starve. Even in America and France, people may starve tomorrow, but it's not to starve. I cannot go, and I was telling this story yesterday. I was in the Hippocrates Health Institute in Boston 50, even more years ago. It was winter. We were in this institute where they're eating and cultivating sprouts and natural living food. And outside, there was there was a tempest with snow for 3 days. It was very cold, and people were lying in front of the building to go to the shop to buy something. It was very cold, and they had to wait to get some food. They were starving. And in the institute, we're saying we can be in the institute for 6 months, because with sprouts, you can live easily without having all the problem when you have to buy food that is from animals. So what I say is that the birth now is people awake that they don't need to kill animals to be happy, and they need to sprout easily. And I was saying that we have sunflower fields around us. With one of these sunflower fields, we can feed half of the French population. Because if you take sunflower seeds, you make them sprouts, you can give food to thousands and billions. So starving people, it's not because there's not enough food on earth, it's because we are giving food to animals, and these animal products are killing us. So it's completely stupid. We are producing 1 kilo of grains per day for every human people. So we could be living well. If we use sprouts, instead of eating, if you take this 1 grain, you give it to an animal, yet doing the flesh of the animal. You can nourish 1 person. If you take the same quantity of grain, you sprout it, you can give food to 25 people. So really, because one of the nightmares of today, COVID is killing some people, but a few. But malnutrition is really killing a lot of people, because or they die or they are not having a good life because they lack good food. And we can teach them how to sprout grains and be happy. So this kind of thing are our future. Our future is not staying chaotic long time, chaotic stories and wars. This is finished. Our future is people awake, get out of the nightmare of the past, and awake that we are wonderful beings. And the key is to understand that we are spiritual beings. And when you get into that, you connect your spiritual body and it gives you information. So the future is that, this is what you do already since many years, is that you do what you feel right for you and for the world. And because of that, you give to the world beautiful, positive things that you live. You are not telling things that people should do that you don't do. You are an example of being happy and giving it to others. So I believe that this is what is going to happen. Happy people will make a contagious disease that we can call happiness. And this is the next pandemic. It's not a virus. It's people who have taken the responsibility and are obeying to their higher self and are obeying no more to people of governments and things that tell them, be in fear, be in fear. So this, nobody can stop it. And we are together into telling to the people, stop obeying others, telling you this or that, make a mask or give a vaccine, all that. Obey to your inner consciousness. And this is what you do, what I do, which is bringing to people information that our future is wonderful if we believe that we can get inside and get our information from within and stop believing all this nonsense, stupid things that television is telling really about.
And when people get into a major disruption, when things don't work anymore, when, as Nietzsche said once, I woke up one day and I was in the dead wood. You know, nothing I used to do works anymore. I don't know where to go. My back is at the wall. That's where we ask for help. That's where we remember God. That's where we remember the divine. And the way we are explaining this is that as we are going through this change of ages, the first step we're suggesting is to first pause, stop. You know, stop. And this is what Corona did. It stopped everybody in their house. Everybody starts reflecting. Some people divorce their husbands because they're living at home for so long. So like, I really never liked this man. Or it's just like, what am I doing here? Some other parents, men, started teaching their kids at home because they can't go to school, and they found out, oh, I really love teaching my kids, you know, and they started being more in contact with their kids and so on. So there was a major reflection. Another reflection, for example, in politics and the economy. You know, for example, there's those who want, we don't care about Corona, the economy is more important, we can't destroy the economy for Corona. And then other people say, no, human being health and life is more important. So there's a massive discussions, debates going around in the world. And I think out of that chaos, we'll turn to new order. But the pause is hard, as you know, like at least for me. I never paused for a second in my life until I was forced to. I was absolutely forced to pause, you know. And I started to freak out, like, you know, humanity has been running crazy, you know, and has stopped to pause. Do you pause in your life? Because it's, Lazarus used to say that the hardest step in a process is the pause.
Absolutely. And you know, it's, remember something, last year, you came to my house. You were with me for about 3-4 weeks. And when you came, I was completely blocked. I had big knees, complete inflammation, and I could not move, and I was in pain day and night. So I went through a hard time. But I believe that it was a time that my body was telling me, stop, Tal, you do a lot of things, but you don't take care of yourself. And the lesson was hard. because I cannot go
I
do things.
remember.
I was blocked in my bed with pain, but I got the message. I fasted for 40 days, and step by step, my body recovered, healed itself, and I got the message that I was doing fine, but I was too much energy to others and not enough to myself. And my body told me, that's enough now. And you saw me laying in bed for 3 weeks. And it was like a good time because I went through an inner process of rebuilding from inside a new reality. I understood that I've been taking too much energy outside, drinking and moving ourselves. You know, I was very busy. I was hyperactive.
Yeah.
Tell me
So
about it.
my body told me blocked. And I believe that every crisis is an opportunity for change. Everything, what you are, it could be cancer, it can could be AIDS, it can could be whatever the names that doctors tell you, it's an opportunity for change. If you stay with, oh, they've told me I have a cancer, or I'm schizophrenic, or this, you put this label on your front, oh. And what happens is that when people suffer, normally what they do is that they believe that something from outside will help them, a vaccine or a remedy or chemical drug, and they put it in their body and it doesn't work because the healing is always coming from within the body. When we stop, and that's the first thing to do, we stop doing the things that are creating problems, we stop, we relax, and then a new reality can come up from it. And I have lived it, you have seen it. And now I'm happy and I'm enthusiastic, and I am taking more care of myself than before.
Yeah, me and Rowan said, okay, from now on, every week there's one day of pause, like we go.
Yeah.
Amazing. It was an incredible lesson for me because I swear in 67 years, I don't think I stopped for one day, until I crashed,
Yes.
Okay, another thing we experienced that in our own spirituality, in our own relationship with the universe, with God, whatever you want to call them, uh, in the past there was a relationship of fear of God. You go to hell if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then came the new age, and everybody starts saying, "I am God. I'm in love. Love. God is love. God is love." But I think we are moving to a new paradigm of spirituality. It's a relationship of partnership with God.
Absolutely. Right.
Can you tell us a bit about that? And how do
Yeah,
you,
but
how's your relationship with God? How do you partner with God?
How do you experience?
yes.
How do you experience
The way I see it is that every human being is God in a human disguise. So God is everywhere. So we have to learn. Jesus said that one day. He said that nobody can go to the Father without going through me. He was not meaning he is the only one. He was saying that every human being is a door to God because you see God in you as much as you can see in the other. If you hate the other, you hate yourself. If you love yourself, you see the other as a friend, well, on the same family. And so we start to build a relationship that is happy. That's what you do together. That's what I do with my wife. We start building a relationship that is no more competition and fighting, but which is complementarity. We are not the same, but we have moments where it goes like that, but these moments we just let go our emotion and we build a relationship of enjoying to be different. And I believe this is our future, to enjoy that God is expressing through every human being, every plant, every animal, differently. So a flower, a rose is wonderful, but you cannot say to the rose, I don't like you. You should be another flower. You love flowers for they are. So we are bringing this idea that this God energy, creating forces, is telling every creature, you have the possibility to create a beautiful world, but for that you have to love you and the other. You cannot be, I still love myself and the other is a terrorist. You cannot go into that. You have to say, I love myself, and what I see that I don't like in the other, I see I don't like war, things like that. You have to say, what can I do to change it within myself? I call that inner work. When you do that, instead of saying, they are bad people, blah, 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 you say, okay, this exists, but I can take these energies and work within myself to release my anger, to release my fears, to release all my darkness. I accept it and I let it go. And for me, a wonderful example is the children when they are 3 years age old. They are fantastic. When a child has an emotion, he has fear, he has anger, he let it go wonderfully, as do wild animals. But because of education, we have learned control. So we are constantly in our mind saying, but we are no more living with the body. We have been killing our bodies through intellectual behavior. I have to be like that. So one of the main things we teach is to help people to get rid of their emotion through the body. Cry, laugh, dance, be happy in the body. This is what shamans do. When you go to see a shaman, if he sees that you have too much anger that is not fluid, he can be walking around you, screaming and with his with some instruments. What is that? A doctor in French civilization would say, this is stupid. What is this dance? But what the shaman does, he uses his own body to take your emotion and relieve them through his body. And after a moment, you will feel better. And he will say, you see, I've taken some of your anger, it's going out through me. Now, let's dance with me. And shamans are dancing people. I have worked with many shamans. They are using their own body, or through dance, or through feeling the light that goes through them, taking emotion of others and letting them go. This is for me the basic of a shaman or healer. I accept you as you are, but I'm not going to let you suffer anymore. I take your pain, I let it go through my body, and you feel better. This is basic. And when you do that, you are constantly helping others and doing good things for you. Because if I release your anger and my anger, I feel better. So for me, I believe this is our future. Believe that we have this God energy that is a creating force. But instead of using it for destroying plants or animals or people, we can use it for helping each one to grow. Animals and plants and all that. And we are going to become the gardener of this planet, instead of being the killer, the destructive people. I believe that this is a transition. And when we work with that, suddenly we plant things, we use sprouts, we eat natural elements, we respect animal people, and with that you respect other people and you help them to grow.
We're recording, sweetheart.
Aslan just came
You
in.
see, and I would say that I'm very happy to see you because your relationships make you smile and be happy. I know you, I don't know how many years, but you are a proof that very different people can enjoy this difference and work with that in a dance instead of going into the fight.
Yeah. This leads us to the idea of resonance. You know, as we know, each one of us has a resonance, call it radiance, call it, that's where all our filters, our frequencies, my self-pity, my anger, my control, my love, my courage, they're all inside my resonance. And reality comes from the future, comes through our resonance and manifest here with all the filters applied to the reality. So if I have lots of anger and fear and I ask for a beautiful, loving relationship, it's gonna be colored by all of those filters in my resonance. At the same time, I realized that as we raise our resonance by releasing the stuff that are low frequency and bringing in higher frequency, is it courage, self-esteem, whatever we are lacking, that will create a new resonance every time. Our resonance is changing every second. And when we reach certain resonance, then we can pull others with our resonance. We can lift them. they will start resonating with us. And they will be changed without us telling them what to do and what they have to do. They're like, I resonate with joy and happiness. As you know, I'm like almost always smiling. And wherever I go, as soon as I go, people change and just like start to become happy. I mean, even drinking Pepsi Cola, you have cannot tell you how many people tell me, you know, can I have some of this Pepsi? I never drink Pepsi in my life, but I don't know. I want to drink from this Pepsi. So there is more and more people waking up and more people getting into what you're saying, a state of happiness and joy and love. And as we start resonating more and more and more, there is a certain level, sooner or later, there'll be a certain level of collective resonance that hopefully will lift everybody with it. You know, some people, as you know, they call it the ascension, the lift, the shift, the, you know, 5D, whatever, you know. So, and you know, there've been lots of research from Maharishi and other, where you meditate X amount of people for many days, you see the results and so on. So how do you see this collective resonance coming up together to lift everything with it, you know?
Yes, one of the major thing of that for me is that we have been in many ages where the masculine energy was in the forefront, wars and all this. And now the change is at the feminine energy. It's not only the woman, it's a feminine energy in both men and women. These are growing now. And the feminine energy are love, peace, harmony, and stop wars and things like that. So we are in this process of transformation where many people go through that. Some are a bit confused because they don't know how to handle. But the basic thing to understand is that we are androgynous people. We are not man or woman. We are both. And we have in our way to live to expand in both directions, to enjoy the strength of the man. His clarity is wonderful. It's passionate, it's strong. But to bring it together with the feminine energy of spiritual consciousness, with peace, and this is going to merge into one consciousness of being one. And this is this inner couple, this inner oneness that is going to expand. And with that, we are going to have many happy children. It's have children that are all men or women, which was the past. And I believe that this process is absolutely wonderful because the feminine energies are really the basic of life. Man, they're nice people, but they don't give birth. So we need to give honor and respect to the feminine energy. What do you think about that, Rowan?
I think it's time. You can see it everywhere. It's very beautiful. And I mean, we're, as you know, here in Lebanon, and the revolution, all the people that we know that are really supporting the revolution and at the forefront of getting all the information out, it's run by 9 women, you know?
Yeah, and even when the revolution were in the streets, Tal, imagine when the police and the army comes to confront them, the women from within the crowd all go to the front, make a shield, a human shield, and they look at the police with their eyes, you know, and it's like, you know, it's incredible. It's the power of the women, and of course the feminine energies are really shaking and the whole country in many ways, you know. There have been discussions for years about the patriarchal paradigm and the matriarchal paradigm. We went both back and forth, this and the vertical or the horizontal paradigm of the hierarchy, you know, the hierarchy. And some people think that the new hierarchy is the feminine hierarchy, matriarchal. Some people think it's a mix of both together coming as one. But I believe the new hierarchy is neither the masculine nor the feminine, because we are going to go beyond all of that. The new hierarchy is the hierarchy of love and support. The more people love and support others, the more I give and respect and create safety and security for people, and I champion them I'm their champion. That will make me, that is the hierarchy, I think, of the future. Because
Yeah, and one thing I would say is that I really have a lot of wonder and about your book, Secret Commerce, because you have brought you to this wonderful information that commercial things are not bad. Because many people are saying that it's not spiritual to have money. It's spirituality is to be like a priest or a nun. The church brought that, and bringing this wonderful energy that commercial things and affairs and all that can be very spiritual. And really, I enjoy that you have brought that to the world, this sacredness of commercial things and business and all that, and to step believing that this is against spirituality. So I really appreciate what you have done in this area, because it's very important. It's the same thing to have no more, this is good, this is bad. But how can I, where I am, bring the best of myself in ethics? I do not want to steal others. I want to make them happy. And if I can sell them something that makes them happy, that's wonderful. I can be rich without guilt. Because in the beginning of the church, it's amazing to see that the church, the Catholic Church, I told all the rich people, you are bad. You will not go to the sky because you are rich. And this has been with a translation that was not right. Jesus had said, people who have a sense of abundance can go to the kingdom of heaven as easily as a camel can grow to the marketplace of Jerusalem, one day of market, through the door that is called the hole of a needle. And the people have brought this the other sense. It's very rich for rich people to go to heaven. It's as difficult as for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. They have completely changed the meaning. So they have said, you are rich? So the rich people have given a lot of money to the church to go to heaven.
That's called monetizing religion. I think Christianity or Jesus was the first real brand. It's a brand that has been monetized over the years and been milked and milked and milked. What do you see in the future, in the next years coming, now that humanity is waking up?
I can say that I see our future very fast going to be wonderful. I think that many, many things of the past are just crumbling away. We see that today. We have brought this information about the virus, the COVID, and the vaccine. We have brought all the truth about it on the internet. And millions of people have already seen it in 1 week. But the truth, nobody can escape it. When the truth hits you, you know. And you are no more into the old paradigm of fear. You know what is true, and you start believing in yourself. And I believe that this is going to happen. In September, October, we are seeing millions of people saying, stop the other things. We do no more believe into these stupid things of the past. We want happiness and peace. And nobody can stop this movement. I believe this is the awakening of a new consciousness. And there's no vaccine that can stop it. There's no drug that can stop it, legal or illegal. Nobody can stop this evolution. And we are supported in that with spiritual helpers. I believe that many, many spiritual helpers are helping us to this birth of a conscious humanity. And I am totally true. So I cannot say when. It can be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, or 6 months. I don't know. But I believe that what we have is to focus on the positive aspect of what is happening instead of making too much, taking time into saying, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, because this is a waste of time. Just work with a beautiful awakening, and we are millions already.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, isn't the French countries in Europe, it's the same thing like happening all over the world? People are waking up spiritually.
Yeah, it happens. Some countries awake better, like Germans in Berlin. It's amazing. France is a bit slower, but it's coming. And every day, when people see what happened in London or in Berlin, then in Greece, in France, now we have a lot of manifestation. And one day, I don't know, but French, for instance, now they're all with the mask and belief systems, the fear. But I believe that suddenly one day they will all laugh and take the mask off and say, stop! There's no reason to have a mask. Masks are just a way not to live. And we want to live. We want our children to be happy. Because our leaders are saying, you know, the mask, this is not for one day or 1 month. It is forever. Bill Gates said that. The mask is forever. Your children will no more go to the grandmother and take her into a mask. And they say that every day in the French TV. They say, if you go to see grandmother, don't touch her. You are dead.
She's old.
So with these messages, people cannot continue to obey. They have to suddenly awake and say, I don't want to take my grandmother into my arms. I want to live. And this birth of joy of people wanting to live, it's happening already. They go in restaurant and they just take it off and they want to laugh and play together. There are music festivals and things like that. And the authorities say, this is going to be terrible. The new epidemic will, no, just happy people will just make this world different.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is that instead of being in the resonating with fear, resonate with joy and fun.
Yes.
So that is a stronger energy, and that you get lifted from that reality because you are resonating with higher frequency.
And then you avoid the virus because the virus is a low frequency.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because our resonance is a kind of a petri dish. You know, if it has low frequencies in it, it will attract the virus. But if you are really in a high resonance, those viruses cannot thrive and prosper inside, you know.
And you know, personally, I see that in even a different way. I believe that since Pasteur, who believes that viruses and bacteria are the enemies that we have to kill, this is completely wrong. Viruses and bacteria are friends. We have more viruses and bacteria in our bodies than cells, billions of them. And the truth is that the viruses and the bacteria are not enemies. They are working to help us to detoxify. So we don't get a virus from someone who has given it to us. This is completely ridiculous. These are ideas of the past. The truth is that our body, in its fantastic intelligence, is bringing to the surface what it needs. If you are too toxic, the body brings a disease to help you heal. So this is intelligent. And so you have not to fear that viruses from outside will kill you. You have to believe that if your body makes a virus and you have a virus infection or bacterial infection, it is a good process. It's a wonderful process. It's a healing process. So we have to celebrate disease. It's no more something from outside. It's a process for healing. And then the key of what is happening today is people starting to understand that when you obey to someone outside of you, can be your mother, your father, or your doctor, or your leader, you are in a state of suffering because you're not believing that you can trust what comes from within. And when you are in touch with your spiritual body, you do what you feel good with it, and what is good for you is good for humankind. So this is what is happening, a process of no more people obeying to the leaders, to the people who say them what is true, what is not true. All that is going to fall down, and people just awake and say, what do I enjoy? What is good for me is good for you too. And this is all what most religious have said. They have said, don't do to others what is not good for you. So it's very simple. If I love myself, I do what is good for me, and I share. I'm not going to hurt you because it's not good for you and for me. And this is the birth of an inner Christ consciousness. That is no more Jesus coming from outside, but this is a Jesus energy, the Christ energy, stepping out of every one of us. So we are all Christ. We are all Buddhas. We are all God.
Sovereign beings.
Yeah. I love what you said about enjoyment. You know, do what you enjoy, and that is the message by almost every master teacher. Follow your bliss. Joy is the ultimate healer. The training of Bashar says, follow the biggest excitement. You just follow your joy. And I always used to say, joy and fun is my moral compass. If it's not fun, I run away as fast as I can.
But we have to tell to the people to get into this state of joy, we have to release fear, anger, frustration, sadness out of the body. Yeah. Because we cannot do that mentally. If you say, I'm in peace, that's like the people who said, I have forgiven all my enemies, but I keep the list of them. Intellectual. So many people, they want to go to health and joy intellectually, but they don't let go through the body, their fear and anger and frustration. So my belief system is that we have to follow the example of happy children, 3 years age old. Because when they are 3 years age old, they cannot lie. A child cannot say, oh, you're very quiet today. It's very good. I'm calm. No, he cannot do that. He's completely right because it's in connection with his spiritual body. And the spiritual body, the higher self, tell him how to be happy every second. But if the child has an emotion, the spiritual body then will say, control it, stop it. No, the body of the child, let it go. Ah! And he is happy every time. When he's in joy, and even when he's in sadness or anger, he let it go out. And so when he has abandoned through the body, joy coming naturally. So the key for me is that you cannot get joy with an effort. I want to be full of joy. I want to be happy. No, this doesn't work. You have to release and dance and have fun, letting go. Then naturally we become what we are, spiritual beings. And spirituality in French, it means happy, and it's made funny.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Spiritual in French, it's spirituality, but we say a spiritual story. It's a story that makes you happy and fun and laugh.
Cool, cool, cool.
So I could say that spirituality is learning to be happy and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for that, I must say.
Good definition, to be honest. Yeah. That's a very, very key component.
As a doctor and a healer and a therapist and psychiatrist, in the past, the paradigm of emotional healing, emotions were always about healing, and they were about fixing them. And I believe the new paradigm and with this new awakening, we can let go of our pattern and all of those negative ego stuff, like blame and martyr and etc., by being conscious of them. So I catch myself, I lie, and then next day I say, okay, I will not lie, but next week I lie again. I catch myself again. At one stage, I start witnessing myself before saying the lie, and I stop, and after a while, that goes away. Same thing with self-pity, or I always use self-pity to control people. And when I keep catching myself, its voice becomes, and its impact becomes less and less. In the past, we used to take workshops about self-pity, do meditations, do fixing, and now, do you see, like me, like as we move on, and as the Zara says, practice is over, it's not about time anymore about fixing, but it's about changing. It's about resonating with something else.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I believe that. Be the change you want for the world, said Gandhi. And this was true. We have to become models of joy and happiness so that people will get that. Happiness is a contagious disease. It's a new pandemic.
Yes, yes. What did Harold say a few days ago about the virus? Something really funny about something virus.
I don't remember. Yeah. I have one last question for you. So as we're all saying, the paradigms are going to be shifting so dramatically. It's very hard for us to even comprehend the change from where we stand. But being somebody at the forefront of health, what are some of the changes that you see that are the most exciting in the health paradigm?
Yes. What I see, that is my really great joy, is that the holistic idea, which is we are not a physical body only, but we have a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body, which is holistic health. It's growing very fast. That people step out of the old materialistic point of view. I am only this physical body. One day I'm going to die. It's going to be the end of life. They step into a new awareness that my physical body will die one day. Okay, but what's the problem? Because my emotional, mental, and spiritual body cannot die. So the fear of death that is used every day in the television, death is coming with the virus, this fear of death goes away. At the same time, when you go into that, you understand who we are. And we are spiritual beings into a physical body. We are not a physical body. We use this physical body to let the energy of the spiritual body go through. And when we go into these holistic patterns, this is growing very fast. I am a physician since 50 and some years. But when I was speaking of energies and natural remedies and spirituality, I was considered. It was
Cult.
something special. But today, most practitioners are expanding. In Switzerland, for instance, 50% of the physicians are using techniques that they have not learned in the hospital.
Wow, that's awesome.
Like hypnosis or whatever, but they have been expanding because people are expanding in a way that nobody can control. And so in many now universities and hospitals and all that, they are using the value of shamans. And so it's just, the only problem is that big pharma, which is vaccine and chemical remedies, don't like that at all. They want to keep people under control. But it is their last battle. They are trying to control the whole world, like Bill Gates want to do. But for me, they have lost the battle. And they are to be very soon in a jail. Because these people are murderers. They are completely crazy. They are psychopaths. So they need to be or in a hospital or in a jail to be like changed. But we cannot let them rule the whole world. Because we want to live in a free world where everybody can expand and learn and have fun and no more obeying others. This is for me the key. The world of obeying others is like at the end. It's like when obscurity, the night, it's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So the obscurity, we have not to fight it. We have just to expand the light and it goes away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's one thing I've been researching or meditating on, that in the past when we had a health problem and a virus or a disease, as you said, nuke it, bomb it, kill it, this is the mentality of war and so on. But from what I heard once from Lazarus, just en passant, and then I started playing with it more. They said that at one time, the healing was going to be not through killing and attacking, but through education. The cells will educate other cells how to vibrate and resonate as its optimum. And so it's through resonance and education that the bodies will be healing, because the new paradigm is not better and improved. We had homeopathic, we have this, we have that, we have holistic health. And yes, it's spreading further and more, but there's going to be complete change of paradigm, beyond just improving what we had before. So, and I think there will be more technological products that will allow us to put our consciousness and send the information or the vibration or the frequency to our cells to resonate. It's rejuvenation, as we say it, right? To rejuvenate, to go back as at the highest peak of its performance.
Yeah. And I believe something that I must say to you, Ayman, you have been one of the persons in the world that has brought emotional work to the forefront. Because what you have done in America is unbelievable. that before what you brought, people are not speaking about emotion at all. It
Or
was just
emotional healing only.
emotion, yeah. And you have brought that with such a strength that millions of people have been changed by what you brought about expand the consciousness, get out of the intellectual mind, and step into the heart and emotional healing. And I believe that really you should have a Nobel Prize for that. Because you are a wonderful man. And Rowan has helped you to bring a lot of feminine energy within you. So I really believe that you are a fantastic example of bringing wonderful things to the world and seeing that it works.
Yeah.
Because
Thank
a
you.
lot
And let's stop the conversation here at this. My ego is so excited. Well, Tal, it's always such a pleasure being with you and to laugh with you and to love with you and to explore with you. And thank you so much for this conversation. Just
Thank you
seeing
for
you
sharing.
makes me so happy. Thank you so
And,
much.
and seeing you looking so well, you're really vibrant, more than ever. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Hug to Joanna.
Yeah.